And I remember working my first week in the pharmacy and I'm like, oh, cool. So I get this paycheck. And is this what my life is going to be like for the next 20, 30 years of my life? There's got to be more. And I was like, shit, Steven, we just got this property. And it ended up being our most profitable and cash flowing property we've ever invested in.
Solve her problems. Forget about the price. Solve her problems, and then we can figure out the price.
If you solve that actual problem, you might be able to have something way more valuable than you think.
That's an important thing for, I say, a new investor that'd be listening to this is to be patient. Like, you don't need to go over the top and get aggressive and think that you can make a deal work. If you're not a problem solver, or you can't take issues coming up in front of you right away that you got to deal with, real estate investing is probably not for you. Brace yourself for a wild ride into the unexpected. This ain't your typical success show. I'm here talking to real folks who've been through it all, skipping the fancy business talk for authentic stories. We're diving into childhood dreams, teenage escapades, and everything in between. No scripts, just the stories that truly mold success. Each episode takes you on a journey through those breakthrough moments that paved their way. No fluff, just genuine stories. So whether you're chasing dreams or just love a good story, buckle up for wisdom, laughs, and the unexpected. This is the Breakthrough Podcast, where success is a journey, not just some fancy destination. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button now and join our Breakthrough crew. I got some incredible stories to share, and you won't want to miss a single one. Some people talk about success, others make it happen. Today, I've got not one, but two incredible guests who are doing exactly that. Joe Tran and Tony. These guys are real estate investors, business partners, and absolute deal-making machines. They've been in the trenches, built something impressive, and know exactly what it takes to win. In this episode, we're diving into their journey, how Joe went from being a pharmacist to a full-time investor, and how he and Tony teamed up to build a thriving real estate business. We're talking about their strategies for finding off-market deals, how they've scaled their portfolio, and the hard lessons they've learned about partnerships along the way. Plus, they break down a wild story about turning an adult care home into a cash-flowing detox center. This episode is packed with insights, laughs, and straight-up real estate wisdom. You don't want to miss it. Let's dive in. All right, buddy. Thanks for jumping on. We can get straight into the story that we were just talking about offline.
Yeah.
About how I found you guys was through Michael Hudson, and he had posted a video of you guys talking. I think you were going through a house, and I just DM'd him and said, hey, I'd like to get Joe on the podcast. And he's like, sure. And he connected us like that. Isn't that wild? Just 1 minute clip. And now, we're going to have an hour conversation and hopefully get to learn some stuff about you and what you're doing out there, because what I saw in 1 minute got me intrigued.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to be here with my partner, Tony, as well. Hey guys, I'm Joe. So a little short summary about me. 11-year pharmacist, got into real estate back in 2005, initially doing property management up in Seattle. I went to college up there for school and then went over to Pullman to finish up my doctorates and came back home. And I remember working my first week in the pharmacy and I'm like, oh, cool. So I get this paycheck and is this what my life is going to be like for the next 20, 30 years of my life? There's got to be more. Just starting to get into more properties and investing. And then I met Tony a few years ago and real estate's been pretty much the bread and butter since then.
What was Tony's role? So Tony, when you guys met, what was Tony doing at that moment that kind of connected you guys?
Real estate.
Just real estate.
Yeah. We're part of this group called ARIA, the Asian American Realtor Association. And I just found it as a way to just network with other people. But I have 5 core friends in that group that I all met through ARIA. And we joke around together, we eat sushi, we goof off together, but we invest together, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's one thing I've noticed about going out to Seattle recently, because I fly out there maybe once a month, every other month. You guys have the best networking groups. Like,
Absolutely.
It's insane. Like, everyone that I've been to has been very intriguing and really good positivity to it. It got me so inspired that we're going to start our own here in Silicon Valley.
Oh, no way.
Like, I'm just like, hey, we're just going to format it, the way that we've, been going to the ones out there. So kudos to you guys for having really good groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, we love it. My cousin Ty is part of 10X. I'm pretty sure you've heard of 10X group up there with Francis and Alicia, and then obviously a big ARIA group up there as well. So, yeah.
So I know some of your history. You were a pharmacist and you got into investing. Where are you investing? Like, what have you guys been doing as far as like strategies at the moment?
The tough part right now is just the interest rate. So last year we did a couple burrs, and that's pretty good. One we're breaking even, the other one we went a little further out, and it was for like halfway homes. So the tenant that is renting from us is halfway home,
Oh, cool.
and that probably increased it like 20% of the average rent we could have collected, and they'll stay forever. And so that's pretty cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's that process like? Because do you have to get like different permits through the city to run it? Like, how long does that take, or no?
I know. So they're not technically they form an LLC nonprofit each time they open a new house or a new chapter, and they just guarantee us the rent. They deal with the vacancy factors, and
Okay.
we're the landlord.
All right. So the nonprofit is basically on the lease, and then
Hmm.
they just pay you. They pay you directly. Okay. That's cool. I
Absolutely.
have a client here in San Jose, and he bought a duplex, and that's what they did. They turned into a halfway home, and he loves it. They pay on time. He's done rent increases here and there, and they're totally fine with that. And they keep the property up, and it seems to be a win for everybody involved. That's interesting that you do that. I've been thinking about that too over the years. So, and, and the only reason why is I'm clean and sober myself. And when I got into investing, it was just something on my radar was to, do a halfway house where I could actually go in there and maybe speak to people on my journey and, being, was a drug addict and got clean. So it's interesting that you bring that up. Are you planning on doing more of those, or is this just a one-off type property?
Within our portfolio, we probably have at least a dozen. I
Okay.
My first one I started was I want to say 6, 7 years ago, but I knew about it over a dozen years ago because one of my client rented to them, and then later on I walked into this house pre-COVID, and it has so many rooms, and so I connected, and then that's how I started, and we kept on adding.
Interesting. What else do you have to do to the property, that, increases the value and what you can rent it for? Is it just more the room count is the big thing?
Yeah, so the one that we saw first was like a 7 bedrooms somehow, and then we actually added two more, so it was like nine. At that time, they paid about 25% more than the current rent. The cool thing with this group is they'll stay forever as long as we're not slumlord.
Right.
And so after the 3, 4 years of the same tenant, you're winning because there's no turnover.
Yeah. And then where do you like to buy these type of properties? Is there a certain type of neighborhood? Do you want to be by transit? Like, is there certain buy boxes that you're looking for?
Yeah, and so they prefer to be within like 5, 10 minute walking from transit.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of saturated in Portland. We actually bought a couple places in South Dakota per their request. The main guy that handled the West Coast division, he wanted us to buy some properties over in South Dakota. So we actually, with a group of us, we own maybe 4 or 5, and we never seen it. We connected with realtor. They had their people. They walked it. They liked it. We signed for it, and yeah, it's been 3 or 4 years, and we still haven't seen it. And it works out pretty well.
It do you think that it rents almost as higher than, let's say, doing Section 8?
Yes, at least 25% more. And
Wow.
then I just like it because it's consistent. Yes, there is a little bit of rent trouble, but then they'll make payments, and it's zero vacancies. So that's the biggest. That's one of the biggest thing. And then the second piece that I have in all my contracts are if repairs are like under 3 or 500 bucks, the house take care of it and they do it. So we only responsible for the bigger items.
Interesting. So, like, the house manager will be the one that handles. There's a clogged toilet. They'll take
Mhm.
care of it, and then at the end, they just show you the invoice, and no, they just take care of
No,
it.
like yeah. So anything like 3, 500 bucks per item, the house is responsible.
Oh, wow.
Anything bigger, we're responsible. So yeah, we did some sewer line repairs, hot water, but it's not like a normal home where every single thing is wrong with it. They'll call you. So we only deal with the bigger tickets.
Interesting. And when you go to buy these properties, are you doing full, it's like in South Dakota? Because we're out in Kansas City and Detroit and Tennessee, and Kansas City, we'll go in there and just fully gut the whole house. Because we don't want any phone calls after the fact. So is that what you're doing out in South Dakota too? Or you're buying them as is and just fixing them as you go along?
In South Dakota, they walk through it, they like it, it's livable for them, then it's
Hmm.
just kind of turnkey operation.
Really
In
cool.
Oregon, we buy more distressed property, so we turn it completely. So it's almost a brand new product before they move in.
Really cool. So funny that you brought this up. It's literally on my mind. It has been for a couple years, but I'm just like, okay, I don't know the bandwidth. And you know how you go. You get into a strategy and you just want to focus on that strategy and not be chasing shiny hot objects all the time, which is
We all
easy
have
to
that
do.
problem.
And you know what I mean? Especially on social media. You'll see somebody do something, you're like,
Gotta do
going
it.
towards it.
That's one of the things that we had too with our Tiger property recently. I think it was the video that you probably saw with Michael Hudson was we're walking through our brand new home that we originally found as an adult care home. 11 bed, 9 bath, 5,000 square foot home. We renovated this thing to have everything that an adult care home needs, right? Support bars, we wind up the hallways, wind up the door trimming. We took that thing down to the frame. We had to get permits, architecture involved. And then once we finished it, we're like, man, we're deeper into this than we thought. And then the broker, we're trying to get this thing listed for sale. He's like, no way, you guys aren't going to get this valuation, what you guys are aiming for. And we're like, crap. So what are we going to do? So Tony and I are trying to figure out ideas of how to pivot this thing. And coincidentally, somebody who runs a drug detox center reached out to us and was like, hey, your house is the perfect model for us to run a detox program out of your house. It's 11 beds. We can take care of all these kids kind of going through this halfway program and see if we can bring them, restore back to normal function and things like that. So this home that was supposed to be an adult care home from 2023 is when we started this project. Now we're going to be able to get a lease on it to have somebody rent it for 25-30% more than what the average rent should be, and having run potentially a detox center out of our home.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And where is this at? Is it in Seattle?
Tiger,
Tiger, so close to Portland?
Oh, Portland. Okay.
Yeah.
Really, that's so cool. I love this and I think that the reason why, of course, my backstory, but I just think that it's helping the community. That's a huge part of it. That people can argue about that, and compared to having a bunch of Airbnbs where
Yeah.
neighborhoods can complain about it, even though there's a need for those too. But this is something that I think that's a really great thing that you guys are doing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think this could be the gentle push to kind of look into this. I tried where I'm at in San Jose looking into it, but even with the higher rents, it's expensive here. Like,
Yeah.
it's really, really expensive. It just doesn't pencil out correctly. What we've been doing in Seattle makes a lot of sense to buy these smaller homes that are 2 bedroom, 1 bath with basements and then build in a dadu. Like, those make sense on paper. Like, I can walk through those numbers, but California, unless you got a ton of money and deep pockets, like, you got to really think out of the box, so to speak.
The whole different ballgame out there. I can't even imagine jumping into that playing field. That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I got a message from Thatch a while back. He DM'd me on Instagram. He's like, dude, California, you can sell the ADUs as a condo now. And I'm like, yes, you can. But if I flew him into San Jose and I took him through the neighborhoods, he would know point blank that it's not the same as Seattle's market and it's not the same as Southern California. So I think Southern California and like San Diego area, they have alleyways. Their properties sit in ways that you could actually really build these. We have lots that are big, but just the way they sit amongst the rest of the homes, you would go on the side yards, you'd be in their backyard, but you'd be surrounded by 4 more houses, really nowhere to park either, but it could be a massive lot. Or there's a big lot and the house is sitting right in the middle of the lot. But I've seen some interesting things lately where if the lot's like a 7,500 square foot lot, they'll literally build an ADU on the side of the house, run it to the sidewalk, and just it be as narrow as like a king bed, right? In width. And they just run it across the building.
Oh my
I thought
gosh.
that was interesting. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That'd be great for renting, but it's not the most ideal thing if you wanted to sell it type investment.
So like in Portland, they're doing cottages. So like 5,000 square footage, they'll put 6 homes on 5,000. So
It's so crazy.
yeah, they use the word cottage and it's all detached and it's decent. Now they have option for cottages. So instead of the dadu word, it's like you could have 6 homes, sometimes 3 attached on either side, or sometimes it's all detached. and it's cottages. So it's like 2 level, 1,200 square footage. They'll sell for like 500. It's just no parking.
No
It's good
parking.
for starter homes. Yeah. Or they'll
And
just keep
so
it.
how much to build?
Those number, a friend of mine, I want to say maybe 350, three.
Hmm.
350 with the land, so they'll sell for 450. Depending on the area, sometimes you could get a little more, let's say north of 500. So there is profit in there. It's just how long with the city, and then what if it doesn't sell?
Yeah. At those prices, I think you probably could just flip it around as a rental, right? And probably be doing okay, or no?
It's rough. I was looking at a 300K, 20% down, 7.5 interest rate. It's like a 2-1, or I want to say it's like more than $3,000, and you probably can only collect maybe 2,700 in
Okay.
rent. So you're kind of negative.
You're
It's just like,
negative.
right, yeah. Unless you're gonna leave all of your equity in, then maybe you could break even.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a puzzle of trial and error on different strategies, right? And how you can either you do a couple flips to keep your cash position strong, and then you keep some because you don't want to keep getting hit with taxes all the time. Or because then if you keep enough of them, then you could potentially, if you're not, burring out of them correctly, that you can then run out of, like, it seems like it's always a game.
Not a cash. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's like you start to realize that. And then since you're online and you have a community, I don't know if you go through this, but you have friends and family and coworkers that want to invest too. And so they're like, okay, hey, can I just bring the equity? And, you guys are already doing it. And then you want to take it on because you want other projects going. It's a big addiction too.
Well, we've done that too. We've had family and friends reach out and, oh, hey, can we split on this property together? It's like,
Yeah.
you got to choose your partners wisely. We're learning that very quickly.
Yeah. Let's talk about that part. This is an interesting topic, is picking partnerships in general. What have you gone through, good and bad, on partnerships?
Man, I can go on for days on this topic. It's so
Good.
controversial, right? Because I'll listen to different podcasts, and a lot of like bigger pockets are like, no partners, go on your own. Everybody has their own goals, paths, dreams, whatever. I feel like the reason why my path for real estate accelerated so quickly was due to my partnerships. I think me being locked into that clinical mindset of looking at clinical articles, basing all my clinical decisions as a pharmacist based on what's black and white. Real estate, as we know, is not black and white. It's literally an art,
Not at all.
right? Not at all. Totally different. So my first partnership was on a 4-unit multiplex in Hillsborough. And I was looking at the numbers, and I just sat on this thing. I just got listed on the MLS in the morning. And I was like, hey, Stephen, I'm looking at this property. Like, I think these numbers pan out, but it's not good enough. And he was like, Joe, are you stupid? Like, it's like clear as day. Just write an offer on it. I'm like, are you sure? Like, we got to make sure this thing pencils. And I was like, what more do you need to see? And then he was like, on top of that, slap another 50K on top of it to make sure we win it. And I'm like, are you joking right now? I got to go clock into the pharmacy in like 20 minutes. I put together the offer. The listing agent texts me, and he was like, hey, are you sure this is what you want? You want to put 50K on top of this? And I was like, are we the only offer? Are we literally going to pay 50K on top of that? And he was like, congratulations. The seller just took your offer. And I was like, shit, Steven, we just got this property. And it ended up being our most profitable and cash flowing property we've ever invested in. So that partnership was great from the get-go. We still butt heads in terms of how we manage the business and things like that, but for the most part, it's good.
What year was this?
This was 2019, 18, 19. So prior to COVID a little bit. And man, that thing's been just through the roof. Purchase price, I think, was like 675. It's probably worth $1 million at this point with all the improvements we've done to it and all that. And honestly, it hasn't been very much. A lot of that's because Steven's very hands-on. And so we did a lot of the renovations ourselves. And after that, working with Tony and learning about how he does his burrs and his flips, it's literally just boom. I went from 4 properties now to 8 on our own, and we just did.
So Tony's the mentor here. Tony's the mentor.
His mindset, the way he runs, is like, I feel like for me, it's just limiting belief after limiting belief. I cannot do this because of this reason, and for him, it's just like, shut up, buckle up, let's go. And here we are now, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that, and everybody, and I'm sure, Joe, you bring your superpowers. And then the magic happens when they're different. when both people have different viewpoints and ways of thinking through things, then that's where the magic happens. I think if you have too much of the same, it clouds judgment and how to move and do things from what I've experienced, because all my partnerships, they're all different and every which way, which is good.
I can't agree with you more. Tony has said it before. It's kind of like the yin and the yang. Tony is really good with ideas, entrepreneurial based, amazing negotiator. For me, it's like, working in the pharmacy, I was the manager for a period of time, and it's all about workflow management, optimization. How can we really bring out the property for maximum efficiency versus I don't give a shit. Let's just go on to the next one. And I'm like, let's figure this out. But how it worked? It's amazing. I love it. Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah. Like, screw the details. I see the big picture. I'm working in the future. Like, I'm already 10 years ahead of everybody in my brain. And yeah.
Exactly.
That is me in the partnerships. Like, the wild part would be, I'd go out to the Bigger Pockets conventions and just started meeting people from Seattle. And so then I'd have them on the podcast, and I just had one here, one there, one here. And then I had Ann Curry on the podcast, and we got done, and I started going through. I'm like, wait a minute. I have a contractor. I know property management now. I have agents on the ground. I'm like, wait a minute. I got a team. Seattle's 2 hours away. Okay, that's an easy flight. Check, check, check. I literally got off the podcast, went onto Instagram stories, and I was like, I think I'm going to invest out in Seattle. I'm going to fly out. I'm going to take a look. I want to get on the ground and see what they're doing. And then fast forward, just from the podcast, I've already, started investing out in Seattle. But then I take that vision to the partners, and I'm like, this is the direction. This is where I'm going. And I have to state my case. I tell them what my vision is and how I'm going to execute it. And either they get behind me or they don't, or they have questions, but most of them, they just get behind me because they trust that I'm not perfect, but they trust that I have enough vision and passion for what I'm trying to do, but then you also need the other team members to have the other skills, like the automation or the follow-ups and just the systems in place, so that somebody like me or Tony can sit and create the visions and move that forward. And the negotiating part is huge too. Like, that's exactly, I'll look at a property and I've already gone through 10 steps on how I'm going to negotiate through it. One way or another, I'm thinking of analyzing different things and trying to figure out. Sometimes it's confusing to my brain, but yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you guys are teamed up like that. It's really cool. Who else do you guys partner with? Do you guys separate? So let's say somebody came to you guys, had a bunch of money, wants to invest. Are you guys structuring a part? No. No.
Unless it's family's money and with no inputs, then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We'll give them a return or we'll give them equity, whatever. But the main thing is no inputs. If not, then we have access to bank money and stuff. Like, why do we need the inputs? We learned. We tried last year with a couple of different things, and it's just hard. Like, we want to ride together, level up together, but everyone has a lot of different personalities.
Yes.
And it's just hard to swallow.
Yes.
So maybe our new vision is, let's just make the big bucks and just invite everyone to go play versus trying to, I don't know.
Try to bring everybody for the ride and then trying to justify why we're making a certain decision. Because we have all sorts of friends who are like, dude, you guys are doing so well with real estate. Let's win on this together too. And then once you start getting into it, they're like, but wait, so why is my money going here? Where's these resources coming from? How come we're taking, and then now you're spending more time explaining and teaching them how to do real estate versus them just essentially trusting us with the capital and then bringing the returns together.
And watching the process along the way too.
Yeah.
Like, if someone's going to partner up and they're going to bring capital, I'll update you every week. I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, but it's not and if you're new, this is not where you start to interject some type of thought process if you haven't been down that road.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you really need to step back but be very honest in what's going on. And it's true. Then what happens is it derails you. You start thinking about these negative things and you lose focus on the big picture.
100%.
And yeah, I know where you guys are at on that. I have to say no a lot to partnerships. I just went out to dinner with a gentleman last night who I know from mountain biking. And not that I told him no, but I feel like I would do him a disservice and that I don't have time to dedicate to another scenario, because I'm the type that I really want to see everybody win and make money. And I'll then put them first. Like I'll think about their, well-being. And it's like, I lose track of the big picture of what I'm trying to do. So most of my partnerships, they're very chill in the background. Like,
yes,
they don't do much of anything. We'll have meetings and talk about things, and I'll give them updates, and it works. I've learned bad I've had some bad situations too.
It has to be easy, less friction. Like yesterday, we had a cool coffee meet, and then so the new friend was saying, "It's a pie. It doesn't matter how big or small the pie is. It's just when you do invest, we all eat versus trying to grab the biggest piece, because at the end of the day, we're not taking all that pie to our grave, right? But then we want to ride along, we want to enjoy, but each one got to have a different role. And then we could share the pie. There's plenty of pies out there, but some partnership is, I don't know. It's too much nitpicking.
Yeah.
And I learned that you got to stay away. It's just tough.
Yeah, I agree. And, I've started doing some coaching, some mentoring of some clients have come to me that have money, they inherited some money and they want to invest. And so I've helped them, and they wanted a partner, and I said no. And I said, hey, how about this? Why don't I put you on a retainer and for the next 6 months, and I'll take you from point A to B to buying your first investment property. How to choose a market, how to put your team together, how to vet your team on the ground, meaning your agent, your property manager, your contractor, how to deal with getting an LLC, all the little steps that people don't really understand until they get into it, which takes a long time to actually start to really learn that. And they've come to figure out that it is hands-on and not as hands-off as they think. And that's worked out pretty good. And it came to me very organically. And I spend time with them. And I have another gentleman we're going to start right now. He works in tech and he wants to invest. And I tell them in the beginning, look, if we started a partnership, I'm taking 50% of the equity right off the bat. Like you're going to bring the equity to the first deal, and we can use my experience to get the hard money, but you're taking care of the down payment, the closing costs, the soft costs, the carrying costs during that project. I'll get you the construction money.
Yeah.
That's how I'll structure it on the first one. And it's a trial to see if my other rule is if I can't talk to you on the phone on a monthly basis and get along with you, I'm not investing with you.
Yeah.
I want a more deeper relationship with my partnerships on a way that is not just about real estate as well. I want it to be about a lot of other things too. What are you doing for like fitness and like your health and like your family, like all that. Like it's kind of like a mini network, right?
It is.
So I found that whole little having these students now has been interesting to frame out to help them. And I'm thinking about doing more this year as well. I should have done it a long time ago. Social media, you start to get people, they either do a course or they're doing some type of mentorship and everybody's thrashing them about you're just a
Trying to sell a
guru
course
and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, I'm not a guru. I actually in the trenches and I've done it and I do it. I own properties and I'm willing to tell you, I'm not going to fluff the situation. I'm going to tell you everything, the good, the bad, the ugly of what goes on. But I couldn't get past myself on the fact that the minute you start to do that online, you are a guru.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how good or what your intentions are. And if they are good intentions, that doesn't mean people are going to perceive you at having good intentions.
It's crazy,
But
right? Like that
something-
connotation or the stigma to be a guru now, right? Is that crazy?
Yeah, because I think that there was a lot of people, especially like during COVID. But kudos to the ones that did this. But I remember this lady who popped up on my feed on Instagram, and she told the journey of buying a property, rehabbing it, turning it into an Airbnb. It was in Memphis. And literally, she finished that and she was getting a lot of traction on these videos, right? Then boom, she had a course. Boom. Back then, you could grow your audience quick on social media. She's got a course. She was selling that course for like $5,000 per person. You know what I mean? And she'd only bought one property. She rehabbed one house, bought one, turned it into one Airbnb, and she's an expert now.
Back then, the absolute expert,
But so then that kind of, I started seeing more and more of that, but I couldn't get out of my own way of, look, people are coming to me and they need help. So I'm actually doing them a disservice for not helping them, and that they will go another direction and make a bunch of mistakes. But it was just a kind of a learning. It had to come to this point. Like, you guys have a ton of knowledge, right? You could share it and teach it to the masses if you needed to, right? And you could save that audience. You could go onto a webinar, and the two of you would ultimately save people time and money, right? Because you can teach them the things that you did wrong, right? And the things you did right. And I think if you have it, you got your heart in the right place, it's very powerful, because that's how I learned. From like Instagram, found somebody, I'm like, oh, Midwest? Oh, I can get on a plane, let me fly out there. I met my agent on Instagram. I DM'd him. Next, I was on a plane to Kansas City, went through the neighborhood, and there it started. But I trusted him, and he gave me a lot of good insights, talked to me about this. So we live in a powerful period for information. It's good and bad. It's easy to get distracted, but look at, you guys got on here and I didn't tell you anything about that. I was looking into a recovery type living place, right? And then you come in and say this, and I'm going, of course, here's going to come that moment when you guys are going to give me some great information that I could use down the road potentially, but it resonated with me. You taught me something. It's crazy.
The world just has its ways. It's really amazing how you just have an idea and it just manifests itself in its own way. Like, just appears, right?
Right.
And I just feel like life to me has changed in that direction too. Like, working day to day, my old 9 to 5, it's the grind. It's what you're destined to be. But the minute you hop out and put on that entrepreneur cap, things just manifest itself in its own way. You just have to believe it. You truly just have to believe it, and it'll manifest itself.
Yeah, it's such a wild, and I think now that we have the connection that we do, before, back in 2009, we would not be having this conversation. I wouldn't know you guys, right? You'd be doing your thing and I'd be doing my thing. We were all kind of in our own little cocoons back then. And now this is bringing us together in ways to like share information, it's pretty wild to go through.
Yeah,
it's what I've noticed. Like, it's really cool. So what do you guys have on the horizon? What have you been thinking about that you're intrigued about that you haven't started yet? Is there anything? Are you really focused on where you're at right now and the direction you're going?
Man, there's so many things. Tony's ideas are always running.
Tony, I'll be thinking of a bunch of them right now.
You can see his gears turning right now, right? Tony and I just finished Business Mastery with Tony Robbins a couple of weeks ago. And that really I feel like it just shaved off like decades of being like a pinball machine, bumping that pinball around and trying to figure out what's the most streamlined way to streamline your business, right? Not only are Tony and I doing flips, burrs, things like that, but we also have our own real estate group together. And at first, it was just a 2-man show, and we're just bringing on deals together. Now we've added on team members, assistants. We have a showing agent. We're looking to still expand our team and how to better optimize our team. And I feel even at a time when the economy's kind of in a rocky place, we don't know where this administration is going to go with interest rates and all that. It's very volatile right now. Our business has been doing very well, and I'm so grateful for it. But now it's like, how do we continue to scale the business in a safe and effective way where we can still capture a lot of that and still provide our clients with the valuable service that we can provide? And so this year, 2025, we have some very lofty goals on how to make sure our clients are our number one, our best forward-facing ways possible to make sure that they're getting the service that they need. And at the same time, we're still looking for deals. We want to keep looking for investments, trying to find and reach out to wholesalers and find out true deals, great deals, not some that are just going to blow in front of us. So I feel like you said, these gurus are selling these $5,000 courses, and these amateurs are trying to sell wholesale deals to you, and they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel in order to make it work. It's insane.
Even the pro wholesalers, I'm on all these lists, come to me, and I'm just like, I look at it and I'm like, God, you guys are, who are you sending these deals out to? Like,
I know.
what are you
buying
doing?
these deals?
It's like, just send it out. Somebody will do something with it.
And you guys are rolling like 20 times a day.
Yeah. And it's crazy because then I'll see it like a month, 3 weeks later, I'll see that same deal with a price reduction. I'm like, okay, like, why are you wasting the seller's time, your time, the investor's time? Either get it on a contract correctly and keep to the formula that always works and just get a good deal.
This is the song that Tony's been singing. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of different type of buyers out there. It's like semi-retail. Like the grandparents just try and find a deal for their kids or grandkids. So those are the people that they're trying to catch. Or else they're trying to catch first-time flippers that's going to make mistakes. But as long as the wholesale guys earn their money, they earn the money. They don't care for the end results. So that kind of sucks. Or maybe they'll just, lock it in with the seller, and then the next wholesaler guy, the third wholesaler guy will get the right price and it'll sell. It's just going through the process or going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And for me, I don't really care for that. I like to have the buy now button price. If I see something, the wholesaler guys got to give me a buy now or an option of last look. If not, I'm not going to walk the property, because they always want you to walk it because it built up the hype, and then they could tell everyone else to bid against each other. I'm not going to waste my time that way.
Yeah, they want you all there looking at each other like you got poker faces going on property.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and not all, but some definitely just don't have a business model in place when it comes to being a wholesaler. So it's new to them, so they really don't understand it, the process. Well, it is, and it is, I think, then it's really a big disservice for the seller too, because I'm a realtor in Silicon Valley, and I've wholesaled out in Kansas City, and I only did it because I just wanted more deal flow, and I wanted to be able to get cherry pick from the deals, and if it doesn't work in my buy box, I'll sign it out, sell it. And I just learned real fast that whole game. And I had a couple people calling, and they'd call me and go, I really don't know how to deal with this lady. She's 80. And I'm like, dude, did you ask her, like, why does she need to move? Why does she have to sell? Where is she moving? Oh, she's moving. She wants to be by her family. Okay. She's got a lot of stuff in her house. Okay. She needs help moving. Solve her problems. Forget about the price. Solve her problems, and then we can figure out the price. But if you if you haven't gone through learning how to do that, someone's taught you how to do that, or you've worked in real estate enough to know how to deal with a seller, then it all goes wrong, and they just want to lock up a contract, think that somebody's just going to buy it, and this is not 2020. Right. You could do that in 2020.
Yeah. It's really, you say it's common sense, right? But like, a lot of these guys, they just lose sight of what's realistically in front of them. What are the pain points of the seller? What can you help alleviate from them? Instead, they're just so focused on their dollar, but they lose sight of what's the actual problem in the first place. You solve that actual problem, you might be able to have something way more valuable than you think.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big thing I noticed. I only wholesaled for about like a year and a half, and then I just was like, it was rubbing me the wrong way. And then who I was having to deal with, I can't do this. No, I got to refocus my energy on it. Yeah. So what do you guys like to do for fun? What are your hobbies?
Exotics and sushi.
Exotic, not like dancers, because it's in Portland. You meant exotic cars.
Exotic cars and sushi.
Western clubs per capita. We like exotic cars. Yes.
Where do you both live?
Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, you're in Vancouver. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, across the river. Tony's actually 10 houses down. This partnership is just amazing. Just literally, he walks up the street and he's like, all right, I'm already here. I'll go down and get a workout or whatever. So,
good.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's great. Funny enough, I'm married and have a daughter all because of Vancouver.
No way.
All because of Vancouver. So check this out. Yeah, this is crazy. 2000 2005, July, I got clean. And that January, I was flying out to Vancouver to go to an AA convention. And flew into Seattle, then got into Vancouver, and I'm going to go through customs and everything. And I'm like walking up, and I got a t-shirt on, and this lady's just standing there, and she's looking around. She's all smiley, and then she sees me, and she just like starts going, oh. She sees that I have tattoos, and she walks up, and she just looks at me, passport, give her the passport, and she's like, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And I'm like, no. She's all right, comes back. She's all, come with me. Puts me in a room, tells me that, what am I doing going to Vancouver? So I tell her. She's like, where are you going? I'm going to an AA convention. Where are you staying? I'm like, oh, I don't know yet. This is kind of last minute. She's like, you have to have a plan. I'm like, no, I don't. I've traveled the world without a plan. What do you mean? I don't need a plan. And she did not like that comment. And she comes back and she said, you were arrested in 1989. I'm like, yeah, I was arrested in 1989. She's like, yeah, you were convicted of a crime. I'm like, no, I wasn't. I wasn't convicted of anything.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, we got to send you home. So she literally, they put me on a plane. They had sheriffs, cops, whatever, bring me onto the plane, 2 of them. It was almost like I was like Hannibal Lecter. Like
Wild.
bringing me up on the plane. They're bringing me on the plane, and everybody on the plane is like, what's going on? Like, they sit me down, give me my passport, and say, have a good day, Mr. Husted. That's it.
That's wild. And this is Vancouver, Canada?
Yeah, it's Vancouver. Flying into Vancouver.
So Vancouver, Washington. But
oh, you're back in Washington. Oh, okay, funny. Oh gosh. Let's keep going with the. We'll go with the story.
No, that's wild though. How did you'd be like, sorry, this is a mix-up. I was arrested, but I wasn't convicted of anything. Even that is constituted as like, you cannot enter Canada?
Yeah, you're supposed to, if anything you do, this is what I remember. If you were convicted of a crime, and let's say it's you're supposed to actually document it prior to going to Canada. You're supposed to tell them up front or something to that effect. That could be wrong, but this is what happened to me. So then I flew home, and I had a week off because I was going to Vancouver to hang out. And so, I wasn't supposed to be in a relationship. My girlfriend at the time, she was an ex-girlfriend, comes by the house, and we made our daughter. And It was all because of Vancouver. So
that's wild.
So, I thank them all the time. Like, hey, and I always want to go back now and go through this whole scenario again, and to let them bring my daughter and my family. She also didn't like that I brought up, there must be a location in Vancouver that is there's a lot of drug activity. I think I had mentioned that area, and she didn't like that either. Like, she didn't like the fact that it was bringing up, okay, he's going to an area that has drugs. He's going to an AA convention. I don't know. Guy's got tattoos. He got arrested. Arrested in 1989. Dude, that is so crazy.
That's so wild. They take that so, people change, right? There's an evolution of how, it's just so crazy how that is still stuck in their mind. This is such a big thing. That blows me away.
Yeah. You know what? I just realized I didn't even know Vancouver. There was Vancouver, Washington. So you just taught me something. So there you have it. Okay, so walk me. Where's Vancouver, Washington in relation to Seattle? How far away?
It's about a 220-hour drive up to
South?
Seattle.
North. Okay.
North. We see Portland from our window, literally. So Tony's house, river. You see the Portland airport right there. I mean, you literally all you see are planes flying back and forth. It's a 10-minute drive over to Portland, but Vancouver is a little bit of a hidden gem. Reason why is because Washington, as you may know, we don't have income tax.
Right.
And then we buy all of our stuff, iPhones, laptops, whatever, over in Oregon where there's no sales tax.
I don't. I buy everything here.
But it's a sweet spot.
I'm learning so much today. This is great.
Yeah.
So I now know where Vancouver is.
It's really cool. Cost of living here is super cheap. I was born and raised in Vancouver, Washington, so I've seen how Vancouver has grown. And we're getting an In-N-Out here. We're getting all these great restaurants. So Vancouver is really blowing up. We have an awesome waterfront now. All of our Portland friends are coming over to Vancouver because a lot of crime and issues over in Portland they're dealing with. Here, it's way more clean. We deal with a lot of the BS and stuff like that. So I love Vancouver. Absolutely.
And so what's the price points like to buy a, in a decent B plus neighborhood, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Like what are the prices, at? Curious about that.
49K for a
What?
median
Wait,
price point.
I'm sorry. Did you say 49,000?
489,000. The
Wait.
audio cut out just at the right time. Value.
I've been like, hold on, booking a flight.
He's only got 8. What?
Well, I was like, no, he didn't. Something cut out there. 480. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The median,
And when you brought up the in and out, is that kind of like a joke because you guys don't have a lot of like little downtowns and new little shopping centers popping up? Is that what you're getting out on that?
So 20 years ago, my dad had to close his shop. He owned a printing business in downtown Vancouver because there's nobody there. It was literally like downtown that was just waiting to die. And then I think people just came over from Portland just with the new life and everything going on, the crime and everything. So when people started coming over to Vancouver, we got some pretty cool little shops and things like that, little cocktail bars, started kind of be fun. And then like all of a sudden within the last 10 to 15 years, downtown Vancouver is just flooded with life, creativity, innovation. Now we have a beautiful waterfront. We have like the Pike's Place of Seattle coming in called Terminal 1 in 2027. So a lot of really, really big things. And no joke, I'm not sure how In-N-Out ran their algorithm to say Vancouver's going to be a pretty good spot to open up 2 restaurants here. So we're going to have one right in the middle of suburban Vancouver and then one up in Richfield, which is about another 15 minutes up north from where we're at here. So it's really cool to see the life come back to Vancouver again. I'm really excited about it for sure.
Yeah, and you can start to notice it, right? You start seeing cranes going up and there's a lot of development going on and you're going, okay, this is going in the right direction compared to the wrong direction.
Yes. Yes. I'd love for something in downtown Vancouver to do like a midterm rental, short-term rental, because I feel like it's a great place to have bachelorette parties. The downtown, it's still very homey. It's still cozy. But then if you want that really nice Ritz-Carlton vibe, then you have the waterfront where there's really nice restaurants. El Gaucho's out there. So it's pretty cool.
So the waterfront, you said it's similar to Pike's Place. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So we have a Pike's Place kind of theme of like farmers market, little markets here and there, merchants selling their stuff. So that's going to be up and coming in 2027. But then the waterfront itself is like a really cool hangout area with a lot of really nice 5-star restaurants, hotels. We have $1.5 million condos being sold out there right now. So the amount of life coming in, we're seeing McLarens and Lambos, whereas before people didn't know what those were here in Vancouver 20 years ago. So it's really cool to see.
Interesting. So do you think it's like transplants moving there because of the cost of living? Like, what do you think? What are you seeing there that's changing?
I feel like it's just everything. A lot of new investors coming in, a lot of new innovation, creativity, a lot of businesses coming in. And I think the fact that we don't have income tax, that's huge for businesses.
A big one.
Yeah. Peace Health headquarters is here. HP headquarters is here in Vancouver as well. Nautilus, the workout equipment, they're here as well.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of life, a lot of businesses in Vancouver.
How does it work for you guys out there as far as like doing a flip? Like how is it taxed when you do a flip? Are you getting the city tax and the state? Like how does it all play out? Obviously, I know you got the federal, but like how is it more beneficial for you guys?
So it depends. If we're selling in Washington, then we pay the exile tax. Exile tax will be like 1 point something up to 500K, and then it keep on going up.
Okay.
So it's off of the sales price versus the profit. So that kind of sucks. If I'm flipping it in Oregon, then of course there's Oregon taxes, and it's average about 10% on top of where it's affects. For us as realtor, if we do flip, as long as we have a bigger portfolio, we just buy bigger property and do cost saves to offset that. For our current, the game is to more have BRRRR stuff versus cashing out on stuff, because cash, if you sell within a year, you pay tax. But then if you try to be smart and hold it for more than a year, the market could turn and there might not be profit. It's pretty much a double-edged sword. Flipping is not the game unless you need short-term cash. But then that short-term cash, you're going to pay a lot of
Taxes anyways, so.
So yeah.
It's just like I said, it's like a maze puzzle of trying to figure out the big picture of where money gets allocated towards, and then what are the strategies, like how do you keep, that reserves of cash going? Like we've ran into that several times, especially in the Midwest, because we just kept buying and burning, and interest rates were low and the market was going up. You could do no wrong. And then things changed. And then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now you got to get smart. You got to really pay attention to what you're doing. So I'm curious to see how all this development we're doing out in Seattle plays out numbers wise. I'm eager to see. We got into contract literally on 3 within from June to November. We bought 3 properties. So I went out there in March, beginning of March, checked it out, spent a few months just getting things all lined up. And then by June, we bought our first. July, we bought our second. November, we bought our third. And all 3 of them are just 2-bedroom, 1 bath. No, I take that back. So 2 of them were 2-1s, but they all have basements. The first one we bought had a 12,000 square foot lot.
Nice.
12,000, which is massive. So we built out the basement. So we turned the 2-1 into a 4-3. Oh, I condoized the lot. So now I have it ready for the dadu in the back that's in planning. But then also did the condoize the third one with anticipation of the new law changing. So I did it all up front. We did it all up front because our condo attorney said, you want to have this all defined if you sell off the main house. And if you have to move a fence a little bit, you could run into a problem. So then I just quickly pivoted. I'm like, wait a minute, let's not even sell the main house. So we kept it and we're just putting tenants in and going to do a cash out refi. We did a hard money loan on the dadu build out for the full amount. And then we'll sit on that land bank, that third project until time comes. And we might even be able to do another one at some point if Seattle keeps changing what they're doing. But all of them have had basements. So we've taken everything from a 2-1, but we haven't sold anything. We haven't finished building anything. So I don't know where the numbers from what we bought to the carrying costs, to the soft costs, to the permanent, everything, where we sit yet. It seems like it makes sense, but I don't know until it all either sells or we keep it and do a refinance and I get to see numbers. So it's intriguing. I'm like I'm back to being a student and I love being a student. And I think that's what keeps us fresh, right? In this.
Yeah. Always learning, learning, an open mind. But that's really cool because me being in Seattle and I know the local areas, being there for 5 years and all, but like to be able to find deals like that and structure, like I'm really excited to see your end result and what's going to happen with this. So I'm definitely going to follow your journey and listen in and
it's
awesome.
cool. It's cool. And then sometimes I go, one day when we got on our contract on the second one, I want to say it was by accident. And the reason why, it was a corner lot, really cool house, had a basement, big 7,500 square foot lot, perfect for building a dadu. And then you could build that dadu and it just would immerse into the neighborhood, right? It'd feel like it was already there. And for some reason, we wrote the offer in our own names. So it was me and my business partner, right? And they got like 4 offers and the highest offer. And I knew that it was going to go higher than what we wrote at too. But we're like, we'll just submit. We wrote at 870 and they got an offer at 1.1.
Wow.
But the seller didn't want to work with a builder. So she literally instructed the listing agent to accept our offer.
Wow, that's insane. That's crazy.
It was crazy. My agent called me up and he's like, you're not going to believe this, but the seller didn't accept an offer at 1.1, is going to go with your offer because she didn't want that lot developed. I'm like, you never told the agent that's what we're going to do? And he's, I don't know if I brought it up, but he didn't ask and you're in contract.
Yeah.
So we got in contract. Yeah. We got in contract and guess what? It didn't appraise. I think it came in at 830. So we wrote at 870. It came in at 830. It was a 3.2, but now it's a 5.3.5. So we built out we added a bedroom and a laundry room and finished off the basement. And then we added a powder room upstairs. And then we took one of the bedrooms and turned it into a master suite. So we kind of closed. We went way over budget. And now I'm going, okay, is this adding the bedroom and the half bath, all this going to pay off? I'm just crossing my fingers on it. I'm hoping we added enough value to it. But the big key is we got the lot in the back and that's in planning. But the neighbor came out the neighbor in the back, she saw the surveyor out doing the stakes. And she's like, wait a minute. I thought nobody was building on that. And my contractor's like, no, we're going to build. It's going to go into the neighborhood. It's going to be beautiful. It's not going to be a problem. And there was actually a tree, 80% on my lot, 20% on hers. There's no fence line. And this tree made it so that I went from a 3-2 to a 2-2. I could have cut it down. Right? Because it's 80% on my lot.
Yeah.
But this lady thinks it's her tree, and you wanted to be a good neighbor, investor, and I just said, leave the tree, do a 2-2, and call it a day. And that could have been a greed moment where I just wanted more money because I could get more out of 3-2, but I decided,
it's right here. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I just,
yeah. No, I feel you. That's great.
I don't want to feel like that in investing. I know that sometimes these dadus, we call them ADUs in California, they don't go over well with everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody is on board with them. So I try to stay under the radar as much as possible. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how it all plays out. But that house, the one on the 7,200 square foot lot, we're selling that one. So we'll put it on the market sometime early March, I would say, and then just have the loan on the dadu and take it from there. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Man,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Are you guys in contract or anything, or do you guys what's going on development wise right now? That's cool. You guys got anything going on?
Just our Tiger project. We're just trying to figure out how to finalize that, and then look for different opportunities.
Yeah. And sometimes you go a period of time, you might not have a deal, right? Or something's just not making sense.
Yep.
But the key is to not get so emotional that you got to buy something.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
The worst thing for sure. Yeah. So we're just analyzing our deals, making sure that the numbers pan out. Obviously, we're competing against the interest rates right now. That's the biggest hurdle for us. So, yep. Like you said, not in a rush. If we find something that's worthwhile to look at, we'll consider. But right now we're kind of in a holding position until something does come up. There's just so many things right now. New administration. We still don't know where that's going to settle out yet in the next 100, 120 days.
True.
So waiting for that to kind of settle out.
That's an important thing for, I say, a new investor that'd be listening to this is to be patient. Like, you don't need to go over the top and get aggressive and think that you can make a deal work.
Yeah, most of us are not that smart to just make that work. But back in 2019, I was coming off of a rush of 2018, so I had crews and stuff, or contractors. So I bought stuff in 2019 just to keep them busy. So I was like, oh yeah, I could break even, but at least I have my crew. And then in a couple of years, when the market shifts a little bit, they'll still work with me. So I did that, but instead of breaking even, I ended up losing money. And then COVID happened. I was like, shit, there's $20,000 worth of interest per month, and the market is sinking.
Yes.
So I learned that let's not think about other too much. And if the deal makes sense, yeah, let's do it. But if it doesn't, don't worry about it. And whenever stuff happens, it all happens. But just don't fight it, or just don't try to make something work just to keep your contractor going.
Or just to feel like you got into a deal finally that you can say that you did to make you feel good. Because even if you're running numbers and you're good at doing that and it's a no-brainer, it's a calculated risk always. Because there's always something, there's always some outside forces that can derail a project, a deal. There's just things that pop up, and it's good to talk about them too. I had talked about this in Kansas City during COVID. I had bought this property and I was trying to keep another one of those, keeping my contractor busy because everybody was fighting for contractors. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just give him all my projects and be on my side. He did the floors incorrectly. There was gaps everywhere. And then he took the countertops, and instead of it just being a slab, it was like 5 different pieces put together. And he would send me photos, right? Hey, every week, send me photos of the project, right? But it would be like at the front door, hey, the kitchen's done, right? I'm like, oh, the paint looks good. The floor looks good. The countertop's in, great. So fast forward, he's out the door, right? And then the appraiser comes in, and the appraiser reaches out. He's like, do you realize what this contractor has done on this project?
Oh, shoot.
And I'm like, yeah, he did a rehab of a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,300 square foot home, new kids. He's like, yeah, I'm going to send you photos of your countertops.
Oh my
He's like,
God.
you don't know what this person did. There is gaps everywhere. There's so many, because the photos would hide all that. And that was a huge learning lesson. And then after that, I realized, okay, now I got to have, when you do hard money and you're on a construction thing and let's say you're going to run a draw, and the hard money lender will send out like a third party to research and make sure that what is being done is getting done correctly. So I just found somebody that works in construction that does that for me and had to come out there, because I was even burned at times with the lender's third party inspector coming out, not catching things.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So I was getting to the point, I'm like, God, I can't catch a break. This person didn't catch this. So I found somebody on the ground that knew construction, and they just come out there with the blue tape, and they would just tape away. Ding, ding, ding. Send photos and go, here's your problems.
That's great. You had a problem, and like even putting in these safety guards, right? It still didn't fall through, but you were able to pivot and figure out a way that would work for you, so that way it doesn't happen. I think that's a very good problem solving thing that people need to remember is you may go through the notions, and if it doesn't work out, you have to be able to pivot or figure out a way to solve that problem.
And I think that's real estate in general. That's something I bring up to new investors. If you're not a problem solver, or you can't take issues coming up in front of you right away that you got to deal with, real estate investing is probably not for you.
It's not for you.
You better think of something that, like, go put it into an index fund or figure something else out, because especially if you start growing your portfolio and you got a bunch of properties, those days where you're getting hit with 10 problems when you wake up, you're like, oh, here's my day. Oh, we're having problems today. This is going to be one of those days. Who am I calling? What's my team doing? Well, I really appreciate you guys jumping on. I'm glad I got both of you, because you're right. It was a yin and yang moment, which is really cool. Yeah. Yeah. So where can we find you? Where can the audience find you?
Yeah, so I'm usually on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is at jtreezy, JAYTREEZY, as a high school name that I kept for a very long time. Never bothered changing it. Otherwise, we're both part of Real Estate Performance Group. My email is joetran.repg.com.
Cool.
At
Gmail. And I'll put it in the show notes. Do you want to add anything?
Nope.
You're good?
First.
Yeah. You're like, I'll stay behind the scenes here. That's good. Well, I appreciate both of you guys jumping on today. It was great catching up. And thank you for teaching me that there's 2 Vancouvers. So I definitely learned something new today.
Absolutely. This was really fun. Great to be on the show, Stephen. Thank you.
All right. Well, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, you got it.
And then if you want that connection with that halfway home, just let me know. And then
that'd be great. Thank you. I think that things happen for a reason. The fact that you brought that up, it's just my own little weird moment in my head. So I appreciate that. Thanks, you guys.
So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you for tuning into our show, where we hope you found inspiration and gained valuable insights. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to stay updated on our latest episodes, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and share it with others who might benefit from it. We appreciate your support and look forward to bringing you more candid conversations and breakthrough moments in the future. Until next time, take care and keep exploring new ideas and strategies.